Today, the 4th of April, and well, what a week it's been for news. Much of it very, very grim as the death toll mounts and is likely to do the same again over the course of the next couple of weeks. I'm afraid that we are very much on the same trajectory as Italy, perhaps Spain, so we're not in a very good place. Tough week for the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson. He's been out of action. He appeared in public a couple of times, but I mean, he's looking pretty rough. He's clearly not feeling at all well. So we haven't seen much of him this week. What we have seen are these 5 p.m. Downing Street press conferences, a complete farce with Michael Gove. I mean, clearly just not telling the truth. We then had Alok Sharma giving the most wooden, extraordinarily bad performance I've ever seen from a politician in my life. So it's really been Matt Hancock's week. Thursday and Friday, Matt Hancock leading those press conferences, he himself recovering, having not felt great himself with coronavirus, but Hancock dominating things. And Hancock on Thursday standing up and explaining why the test numbers had not been met, why we are behind everybody else in the world on testing. We're actually on a par with Iran. Everybody else is above us. But it was all fine because Hancock stood up and said, don't worry, because by the end of April, we'll be testing 100,000 people a day. And The Guardian said, isn't it marvellous, wonderful, Matt Hancock. Lots of people said, isn't it good that Hancock's now got a grip on this crisis? Well, didn't take long, did it? 48 hours. And now we've already got laboratories, leading doctors saying this is completely and utterly unachievable. One of the reasons is there is a shortage of the necessary chemical reagents. Why is that? I'll tell you why that is. Because Germany made the decision to do mass testing a month before we did. We are still paying the price for the herd immunity strategy that this government started off with. The basic policy was do nothing, let this thing run its course. Other countries took action. So we're paying a really big price for that. Look, Matt Hancock sums up everything that's worst in a career politician. He's a figure, a creature that comes out of that awful Cameron Osborne period. Little wonder, of course, that he did work as a personal assistant and advisor to Osborne when he was Chancellor of the Exchequer. He's a career politician. He doesn't believe in anything. It's all about career advancement, and he will never really rock the boat. And it was interesting. He's praised Public Health England to the skies. The Quango, the bloated Quango with so many overpaid people. The Quango that is always telling us we must stop eating sugar and not drink too much coffee and all the rest of it. But when it comes to the time they really needed, they have failed above and beyond everybody, particularly, I think, in the distribution of kit, proper protective kit to the front line of the National Health Service. And horrible yesterday to see 2 nurses who looked like they had no underlying health conditions at all in their 30s dying. And I'm afraid a lack of proper kit is a part of that problem. So the PHE have been a complete and utter disaster. But yesterday in the Friday press conference, they told us great news. We're now going to start testing treatments and drugs. And they reeled off a list of the anti-malarials and antiviral drugs that we're going to start trialling. Well, that's good, but America and other countries have been doing this for weeks. And Public Health England say they won't use anybody else's research, but only their own. So once again, we're going to be behind the curve on all of this. What is it about our health authorities? What is it that makes them think they're the only health service in the world? They're not. And we should be learning from best practice from America and elsewhere. It's interesting that the one big success this week for the hospitals, and it has been a success, I mean, to put together that Nightingale Hospital in the Excel Centre in East London, to do it from start to finish in 10 days is an amazing achievement. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they brought in somebody from private business, put together with a senior series of military officers, and between the 2 of them, they've got the job done. I don't think if we'd asked the Quangocrats to do it, we'd be anywhere near that hospital being opened yesterday. And a good week for Prince Charles. I thought his comment about the strange circumstances of being in self-isolation, how difficult it was to be away from family and friends, was a really important point. Every night we're told, stay at home, don't go out, and all in the end will be well. But there's been absolutely nothing said from government about the difficulties of either self-isolation or families or couples being cooped up together for longer periods of time than they've ever spent with each other. Already, we're seeing rises in domestic violence and many other problems. I don't think there's not been proper advice given to the nation about the mindset that is needed to get through this problem. I had a psychotherapist on LBC last night explaining that people must not look at it. They must not look at it as a negative experience. They've got to say we really are all part of this, and actually in doing this, we're playing our part to achieve a positive goal. Nothing like that really has come from government at all. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, the Queen will address the nation, something she's very rarely done in the entirety of her reign. I've no doubt it will be a dignified performance. Someone, of course, herself, who has lived through even greater crises than this. But the big challenge for the weekend, I'm looking outside now, it's gorgeous, it's sunny, and tomorrow in London and parts of the southeast, it could touch 20 degrees centigrade. Now, can you imagine if you've been cooped up? I'm all right, I've got a garden, I can sit outside, I live in a semi-rural area, it's not a problem for me. But imagine if you'd been stuck in an apartment for most of the last week with 2 or 3 kids who are all going up the wall, which they will be, and I'm guessing they're going to be fighting. It's going to be difficult. The temptation to go out this weekend and enjoy the sun is absolutely enormous. Matt Hancock said, "This is not a request, this is an instruction. We are being told by the Health Secretary we absolutely must stay at home." And I've no doubt what we'll see over the course of this weekend are some pretty zealous, overzealous police forces out there. You see, effectively, what they're saying isn't keep social distancing. What they're actually saying is don't use your motor cars. Don't drive unless you're going to the local shops. If you want exercise, you are pretty much forbidden from getting in your car and doing it. And I'm sorry, I was for this lockdown. I'm for social distancing. I've been pretty careful myself about this, but they're putting us under house arrest. We're even being told that if we use our cars on a journey that is not deemed to be essential, our insurance, if we have an accident, may not be valid. I cannot see the problem in people driving a few miles out and going for a walk in the countryside, provided they maintain sensible precautions and keep social distancing. And that applies to joggers going past walkers. It applies to dog owners to keep their dog on a lead. I'm not advocating mass rule breaking. I'm not advocating stupidity. I'm not advocating breaking social distancing. I am advocating that Mr. Hancock, by talking to us like this, by talking down to us like this, when you yourself have so repeatedly failed to deliver on any promise you've made, and I've no doubt you'll fail to deliver on the 100,000, and I hope then Boris has the guts to get rid of you and send you back to the obscurity from which you came. But you want us to obey the rules, we have to respect the rules, and we have to respect the people that are giving us those rules. And I worry over this weekend whether that might snap. I worry. Look, and if people are congregating in parks in big ways, then yeah, the police should be tough. Of course they should. We want to stop this thing from spreading. But at the moment, I don't think the government have got the balance of this right. Oh, by the way, I nearly forgot. The Labour Party have got a new leader, Keir Starmer. So a rich, North London, knighted, dedicated Remainer is the man who's going to get back the working class patriotic vote in the Midlands and the North and parts of Wales? I don't think so.